good to have you with us on the weekend edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, as we near lockdown 4.0's end, which is tomorrow, we've already got the details of what life could look like starting June 1st, starting Monday. A lot of this will actually depend on your state government. A lot of what happens next will depend on your city and the number of cases in your city, or if you are in a containment zone. A lot of it, of how your life pans out from June 1st, will depend on the decisions taken basis city to city. But largely, the centre has paved the way to begin unlocking of India. After 2 months of a lockdown, the centre is now opening up, and the first part of it we will actually see from June 8th, when restaurants and malls and hotels will be allowed to open up. Now, before I go across and get you more details, I just want to emphasize on this aspect, viewers. The decisions have been taken by the centre, but the states have the liberty and the freedom to decide if they want further clamp down, even in non-containment zones, basis that area and the number of cases. Let's go across to Ayushman to get you the summary of what the government has decided and announced by the centre just a short while ago. Ayushman.
Tanvi, first of all, it has been clearly said that it won't be the lockdown 5, but it will be unlockdown 1. So first is the religious places of worship, hotel, restaurant, and other hospitality services and shopping malls will be opening from 8th of June. The containment zones where the cases are still coming, they will continue to remain in the lockdown, and this will be continued till the month end. Now, what will happen if the containment zone turn out to be a green zone? Now, that will something which will be specified later. 3 phases which has been talked about, and in this, as clearly said, in the second phase, the school, colleges, and institutions have been talked about, where it has been said that the discussions will be taking place with the state and union administration will take a decision after having a discussion with the parents and the other stakeholders. The Ministry of Health will also release separate guideline for the departments concerned. And in the third phase, the most important thing, which most of people are waiting about, is the international air travel as permitted by the MHA. The metro rail, which we were expecting, Tanvi, that metro rail will be starting. It has been said clearly that it will be there, but date hasn't been specified. The cinema halls, gymnasium, that has also been mentioned, but no dates. The night curfew has been, the timing of night curfew has been reduced, Tanvi. And also the lockdown in the containment zone, because we know that the caseload that India has right now is major. The major portion is coming from the cities, and that in the containment zone will continue till 30th June, Tanvi.
Okay, so these are largely the main points that have been put in the MHA circular. Let me also bring in our managing editor Vinay Tiwari for more perspective on this. Vinay, before I go across to our guest for a reaction, I just want to also highlight the fact that the interstate borders, the circular says, can be open. People don't need an e-pass anymore for movement of people, for movement of goods. It can happen between the different states, and the states actually, whether or not the states open up their borders, to what extent, what will be the policy if you travel from one place to the other, and at the destination state, if they have specific checks and quarantine protocols, all of that has to be clarified. Let me also say good evening to the panelists who are joining us right now to give us quick reactions on what has been announced. Amrish Arora, member for National Restaurant Association of India; Manoj Agarwal, Chief Executive Officer of Viviana Mall. So from the hospitality, restaurant and industry, as well as from the mall industry, we have reactions now coming in. Mr. Arora, good evening to you. Let's start with you. You were on our show last time when the lockdown rules were announced, and very, very disappointed and dejected. I'm sure you're feeling a lot different and better today.
Yeah, finally some news that is going the correct way, which should have happened. I feel the government is finally realizing that it's all interconnected. You can't have restaurants shut with airlines open. You can't have hotels shut with airlines open. And I feel right now the challenge though we are happy right now, the challenge is going to be how do we open with most of our staff in their villages, guests who are skeptical, still there's so much fear. So it's good and bad. So we're happy right now. We are, in one word, I'm happy.
Yes, so one aspect that you said will be a challenge is, of course, availability of staff. Since many people have gone back home and they may not be coming back anytime soon. Also, Mr. Arora, you will have to wait and watch to see how the different states react to it. For example, the big cities are still a big concern, even for the center, with high number of cases. So, is that some kind of clarity that you will be seeking from the state governments now, I believe?
So now it's the government. The central government has given the diktat. Now it's up to the state government. I think the state government has to act maturely and understand that it should not be zone wise. Bombay should not be treated as one large zone. It has to be in Bombay. There has to be a Cuff Parade or a Marine Drive, or there have to be different sections. And if there are many cases in one cluster, that could be locked up. Otherwise, I don't know how and when we're going to open it up. There are challenges. So I hope the state government listens to this lovely channel today and opens up where there are no cases. Those areas, even if Bombay is in a red zone, should open up.
Of course, and the other challenge will be to also get people to come out right now. There is going to be some amount of concern.
Yeah.
People are going to be extra precautious. So gradually we will see, but at least it has begun. The center has paved way for it, and we'll see how it goes. Let me also ask Mr. Manoj Agarwal very quickly his response. Mr. Agarwal, have the malls been preparing? Are there protocols in place? How you will open up? How you will manage the crowds? And ensure that social distancing continues when June 8th arrives.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on the panel. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, perfectly, loud and clear. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I think ever since our apex body, which is called the Shopping Centers Association of India, ever since they have put the SOP into place for opening of malls, I think all malls have been abiding and been preparing for this, including us. And I think this is an extremely welcome step that the government has taken. It was bound to come sooner or later, but it has now come in early June, which is excellent for all of us. However, as my colleague on the panel was mentioning, that there are obviously challenges because first we have to see how this pans out in the city of Mumbai, where our mall is based. Because there are obviously zones which are in red zone, there are many areas which are in containment zone, many buildings, etc. So we have to see the details of that, but it's the overall a welcome step for the industry and for all the shopping centers across India. So it will turn out positively. We were actually expecting that something like this would be announced very soon, but I guess it has now come, and the Unlock 1.0 is extremely welcome.
All right, please stay on with me, both of you. I want to come back to you with a few more questions. Of course, like you said, a lot more clarity is needed. But let me also bring in our managing editor, Vinay Tiwari, on this conversation. Vinay, the onus is now going to be on the state governments. The center has paved the way and said, okay, you can do these number of things. Rest we will together consult and decide on when to open the schools, colleges, gyms, etc. So now it will actually depend on how each state handles the situation.
Absolutely. I think the buck has entirely been passed to the states, and which is why I personally expect quite a lot of confusion still going forward. Remember, states even now, even in the fourth phase of the lockdown, have been interpreting the rules differently. Some states have actually gone ahead and started doing many activities which other states were reluctant to do. I mean, Karnataka allowed intercity train movement, for instance, quite some time back, quite a number of days back, because they wanted that activity to begin. Even states like Maharashtra are very squeamish about even allowing, the very bare basics as well. I mean, Delhi, for instance, has way more relaxations than Bombay has. So there will be some confusion at the start. The government has not clarified a few things. They've not clarified about public transport, for instance. They want to, as they say, still consult states and decide on movements like metro rail. But remember, public transport is not just metro rail. There are various and are different forms of public transportation that exist. Like, for instance, for Bombay to resume normalcy in many ways, despite the order to say malls or shops can open from 8, it's very important to know whether in a city like Bombay, you will have auto rickshaws plying, can you have taxis plying, can you have aggregators plying, can you have the suburban railway flying, for instance. Now, that interpretation now holds the key. I still see some bit of confusion at the borders in areas like NCR, for instance, because remember, every time some bit of cases have gone up in Delhi, Gurgaon or Noida or Ghaziabad have reacted fairly harshly and have started stopping people from entering. So I don't see that going away unless there is clarity. Unfortunately, I've seen one pattern which I expected to alter, possibly by now, because we are now in, this is the 5th such order that has come from the MHA, and I had expected this whole concept of an order coming in and then 3 or 4 rounds of clarifications that come in subsequently. I was expecting an order to be a little more clearer and a little more specific, so that this constant upgradation and revision of the order does not happen going forward, because that has led to confusion in the past. But I'm afraid I see some bit of that happening even this time, Tanvi.
Yes, for example, and I want to read this part out as well. The point number 5 says states duties based on their assessment of the situation may prohibit certain activities outside the containment zones or impose such restrictions as deemed necessary, which is why now it is on the states to decide if even the mall or the restaurant in a certain city has to open or not just yet, which puts a big question mark on cities like Mumbai and Pune. The other part also is, while the circular says that there shall be no restriction on interstate and intrastate movement of people or goods, that no special permission or e-pass or e-permit is required, it does then go on to say that the state or union territory, based on reasons of public health and assessment of the situation, can regulate the movement of people, but they will have to widely publicize it. That's going to add a bit of a confusion as well. And so this is something that the viewers should know at this point. Don't immediately think everything will start to open from June 1st and start making your plans accordingly. The other aspect, that Vinay pointed out, let me actually get in a reaction from our guests as well on that. Mr. Agarwal, let's begin with you, because fact of the matter is, unless and until, we have clarity on public transport, on travel of people, on how many people can go to office, which are things that the state will decide, how will a mall be able to function?
Well, Tanvi, it happens like this, that once the broad decision, the broad strategic decision at the apex level, at the central government level is taken, I think the state then will take its decision based on the individual city, individual containment zone, individual district, what are the situation. And I think it's just now a process of rolling out in a particular manner. So I think obviously the state government in all its knowledge and all its power will do everything for its citizens and will make sure that the correct decisions are taken so as to drive business, including the malls. So we will await that decision, and I'm sure that the state government would also be reviewing this order and would also already have a strategy and plan in place. So we will await those clarifications tomorrow. But I think now that the basic decision is taken, now it's a process to follow thereafter.
Okay, I am going to thank both you, Mr. Manoj Agarwal, at this point. Very quickly, I just want Amrish also to come in on this aspect. Amrish, it's not just about availability of people. How will you get these people to your restaurants, especially in cities like Mumbai, where it doesn't look like at this point of time that the trains are going to start. We don't know if the taxis or autos will start. So do you believe that it will take at least, a week or 2 weeks more to get those kinds of, things in place?
No, I'd like to, talk on the subject for us restaurants, that we have a curfew which starts at 9 p.m. So our diners come in at 8:39.
Yes.
So I mean, why are we micromanaging and creating so much mistrust in the people of India by doing these sudden things, telling them how to eat, what time to get up, what time to leave a restaurant? I mean, what kind of a country are we living in? Just have faith in us that we don't want to kill ourselves. Just give some rules and let us figure it out ourselves. Shutting a restaurant at 9 o'clock and then there's a curfew, confusion will start here. I'm not even going down the road of taxis and all that. That's guesswork. But this is something that should be addressed.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Mr. Agarwal, would you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you see, while there was a severity during the entire lockdown period, now that there is some relaxation, they've given a few inches in the rightful manner, and in their entire wisdom of the central and state government, I'm sure that they will make sure things become slowly more and more relaxed. Right now, we have to understand, particularly in Mumbai, there is obviously a certain red zone and certain things which are escalating. So they have to take note of that. But overall, it's a welcome step. We will await the details, and I'm sure things will pan out well in due course. Nothing happens overnight. So I think in these cases, it is better to be a little careful and also to be very, very conscious that, you don't ease out too slowly or you don't ease out too fast. So, you have to just balance it. I'm sure that the right decisions will be taken in due course. And the month of June will come as a blessing for the retail, F&B, and the shopping mall industry.
Well, let's hope so. My sense also is that time has been given till June 8th so that preparations can be made. The states can devise, more detailed policies about how and where, malls, restaurants can open up. How will people travel to those locations? For malls and restaurants to also prepare, ensure social distancing is maintained, health and hygiene still remains supreme. Because remember, viewers, even if the lockdown, goes away to a significant extent, the virus isn't going away. The virus is still here. It's still out there. There will be people around you who may still carry the infection. They may or may not transmit it to you. So we still have to maintain and take care of ourselves and maintain all of those, precautions and social distancing norms. Vinay, I just wanted to come back to you on the point that, one of our panelists also raised. The night curfew has been somewhat of a debate in many parts as well. Now they've curtailed the timings, but it's still there between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Tanvi, let me say this very straight, and I possibly have a little more luxury of saying it straight than possibly Mr. Arora or other panelists. I haven't understood this concept of night curfew at all. Why is the government in a lockdown mode, or why was lockdown a strategy? The strategy for lockdown was meant to reduce the number of people on the street and thereby reduce the number of possibility of transmission from person A to person B. I am unable to understand how we believe that the transmission of the virus can increase between a particular set of hours. It's about the number of people in the streets. If you have allowed people for 14 hours or 12 hours in the street, I see no sense why they can't be allowed after a particular hour. I mean, this is not how the transmission of a disease concept works. So I've not understood this whole concept of that instead of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., it's now 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. It just doesn't make any sense to me, because you will have as many people out there on the streets during the day as you would have in a normal time if a state was to open up. Why would you suddenly herd people back home after 9 p.m. as if the possibility or the chances of the virus striking and transmitting increases after 9 p.m.? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I think Mr. Arora raises a very important point. It's really meaningless to open up restaurants or malls if you're shutting down activity or imposing a curfew from 9 p.m. That's not how big cities work. That's not how big cities should work. In fact, my argument is exactly the opposite. The surest way of reducing congestion or social distancing is to allow for greater periods of operation of commercial activities, not restrictive. Because the minute you start restricting, you may open a restaurant, there'll be more people trying to get in between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. than if you were to allow restaurants to open for a normal time, because they can be spread out. It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't see how in this stage we should have kept this concept of a night curfew at all, Dhanvi.
Yes, I would tend to agree with you on the night curfew part, Vinay, and we've spoken about it earlier as well, of how does that really help, and especially if you're opening up businesses and you're trying to revive the economy, then it obviously has a bigger impact as well. Vinay, but in your own view, does this make it simpler or clearer to how to go about restarting our businesses? Or is there still going to be a lot more clarity that perhaps we will wait for the state governments to give us in the coming several days?
No, I don't see, I mean, even though this order has now come out, and I'm glad it has come out a day ahead. I mean, usually we've seen the orders coming out on Sundays or late in the evening, just a few hours before the deadline expires. I still see confusion going forward. And I say so because some key questions are still unanswered, or there is no clarity on it, or there is an overriding clause that also exists in it. I mean, you read out that clause as well, which says the states have the authority to decide or decide not to open up a few things. That creates confusion, and confusion is going to be greater where regions, commercial regions, are not geographically contiguous in the terms by virtue of the political parties governing it. For instance, Mumbai, it might be easier because you have one Maharashtra government ruling the entire state, but NCR will be a bit of a nightmare because you have three separate governments actually involved in operating the NCR region. However, even though for people, it is one contiguous area. People who live in Noida work in Delhi, people who work in Gurgaon live in Delhi. So there is a lot of interstate movement that happens, and I see a lot of confusion there because you really cannot have a free-flowing economic activities happening unless the three states are in sync over a decision. If the Gurgaon administration decides to shut its borders, it's going to impact businesses in both states. So there is going to be confusion in those states for sure, where there are different governance structures existing. It might be slightly easier for, say, states where there are no boundary problems. But even so, I still believe that unless there is clarity on public transport, unless there is clarity on issues like night curfew, which I think is a bad idea, you really will have a very hesitant and a very slow start to the reopening process, Tanvi.
Let me also quickly get in a reaction from Mr. Kumar Rajgopalan, is the who heads the Retailer Association of India. Mr. Kumar Rajgopalan, I'm sure at the first look this sounds like great news, and it is that at some point at least the malls and the restaurants can begin to open. But to your mind, how is this going to pan out, and do you foresee any challenges in terms of clarification or protocols that may come about?
Yeah, firstly, it's a welcome sign. I think we have to understand the spirit of what has been written there, and therefore my expectation is that various states would now start interpreting it and making it much easier for everyone. There are a few glitches there in the sense there is still one clause is not more than 5 people in a shop, which does not work for a larger shop. But I think having said that, I'm sure that the government will rectify whatever needs to be rectified. The intention is very, very clear. The intention is to start the economy. We do know that the problem still exists. COVID still exists. None of us can take it for granted. Therefore, the SOPs are very essential, and that's been very clearly stated. We will have to work locally to make it really functional. And as Retailers Association, we've been working with various local bodies all across the country, and I'm sure that we'll be able to take care of the situation as things go. So it's not simple, it's not easy, but all of us as citizens will have to do what we can. I also hope that citizens, every time they go shop, they do feel thankful. I think it's very important that we all believe that people are working in the middle of all this situation even now, in the middle of this pandemic. So we'll have to make sure that we are socially responsible as citizens, and we'll also have to make sure that we thank people who are out there working to make sure that we can really get what we want. So I hope people feel thankful. As a nation, we should be saying thanks to every time we do some kind of shopping.
All right, I get the sentiment there, and I understand what you're saying. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajgopalan, for speaking with us and giving us your initial reactions. Of course, in the coming few days, we will begin to get more clarity. We will be closely tracking, all the state governments and the meetings that they hold, because individually now the states will have to also take a call on this. The center says you can open up places of, worship, all your religious places of worship. You can open up malls, you can open up restaurants, you can also, open up hotels. But the states may see it otherwise, especially in cities where there are still a large number of cases. Lockdown has only been extended as is, with strict restrictions for containment zones within your cities. But outside of those containment zones, life is set to change a little bit more, with more relief and relaxations coming in. But all of that will take time, viewers. So don't expect any immediate change on ground on Monday itself. Starting June 8th, some amount of more opening can happen, and in the next couple of days, we hope to get more clarity from the state governments and the central government as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this special show. Viewers, we've been bringing to you constantly the report reports from various parts of the country about the plight of our migrants who for weeks have been on the streets. For 2 months, they have been jobless, dependent on others to give them money or food, and then dependent on the governments to give them transport to go back home. Thousands of them gave up and began to walk on the streets. Even now, even almost a month after the government decided to begin the trains, after 3 weeks of trains running across the country, the migrant mess goes on. And we got you those reports. But tonight I thought, let's also take a moment and speak about some people and speak with some people who've actually stepped up, who've gone out of their way to help people during this lockdown. And so we've got a set of very special guests joining us, a star athlete, an Olympian. I have a very famous actor. I have an top lawyer and alumni of Panelists. I also have a mushroom farmer. People from various parts of the country joining me right now because they stepped out of their way to help people in need. And tonight we're going to talk to them about the work they've done and the stories that they have to share with us. First up, let's say good evening to Duti Chand as well as Sonu Sood joining me right now. We will also have Niti Goel, Sonu's a friend who's been helping him. And I don't need to tell you all the amount of work that all of them have actually been doing. It's all over media. It's all over social media. The great work that has actually been done. Duti Chand, let's begin with you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. How and when, did you decide that you want to step out and help some people, arrange food for them and just lend a helping hand?
कोरोना वायरस के लिए पूरी दुनिया बंद है और इसी बंद के मुकाबले सब हर इंसान कर रहे हैं। तो बेसिकली हमारे गांव में तो 5,000 से ज्यादा लोग रहते हैं और हमारा जो काम है कपड़ा बना के जो पैसा कमाते इसी में परिवार चलाते। लेकिन अभी लॉकडाउन वजह हमारा जो भी कपड़ा बना रही है सारा सेलिंग नहीं हो रहा है। हमारा गाँव की सारी जो गरीब लोग है गरीब से गरीब हो रहा है। तो मेरे को मन में ख्याल है कि मैं इसी गाँव में पैदा हुआ है तो इसी गाँव के लिए कुछ करना है। तो इसलिए भुवनेश्वर में रहती हूँ। तो गांव जाके बेसिकली जो गरीब आदमी रहते हैं जो पूरा गर्मी जिसका इनकम कुछ नहीं है तो इनको 15 दिन का राशन दिया मैंने खाने के लिए। और इसके साथ लड़कियां लोग का जो पीरियड्स होता है इनको पैड भी मैंने बिस्कुट किया मैंने।
जी और ये क्या आपको लगता है दुती चंद जी की हम लोग की ये ड्यूटी है और काफ़ी लोग ये भूल चुके हैं एक्चुअली कि उन्हें भी मदद करनी चाहिए। जैसे आपने बोला कि आपके गांव में काम करते हैं, वहीं रहते हैं, इस लॉकडाउन के समय में उनकी मदद करनी चाहिए, पर बहुत लोग ये नहीं कर रहे हैं। आज सरकारें भी उन्हें भूल चुकी हैं और सोसाइटी के लोग भी उन्हें भूल चुके हैं।
सबसे पहले सबको यही कहूंगी अभी तो बुरे वक्त चल रहा है, ये सिर्फ एक ही का नहीं है, ये सब लोग के लिए। तो सबको हमको कुछ ना कुछ किसी को मदद करना चाहिए इसी मुद्दे में, क्योंकि हर इंसान का सब सेम नहीं रहते और गवर्नमेंट तो पदक्षेप ले रहा है और इनके हिसाब से जो जो चीज़ जरूरी है वो गाइडलाइन जरूर किया है और गवर्नमेंट भी इनके तरफ से भी हेल्प किया है लोगों को। लेकिन बहुत लोग ऐसे हैं जो गवर्नमेंट का हेल्प नहीं मिल पाते इनको। तो हर इंसान को यही कहूंगी हमारे पास कुछ ना कुछ है जो हम दूसरे को मदद कर सकेंगे और ऐसी बुरे हालत में किसी को मदद करेंगे तो भगवान हमको दुआ देंगे। तो वही है, मैं सबको यही बोलूंगी इसी मुकाबले में हमको सब मिलके करना पड़ेगा और हम सबको मदद करना पड़ेगा।
जी, आपकी कुछ बातचीत हुई जब आप गए वहाँ खाना बांटने के लिए और आपने उनको मदद की, उनको फूड पैकेट्स दिए, तो क्या आपकी उन लोगों से बात हुई? क्या बताया उन्होंने आपको?
मेरी गांव वाले तो सब मुझे देख के बोला कि दुती तुम तो बहुत बड़ी एथलीट बन चुकी हो और अच्छा इंसान भी बन चुकी हो, लेकिन हमारे गांव के लिए कुछ करो, क्योंकि अभी लॉकडाउन के वजह पूरी दुनिया अभी बंद है, हम घर से बाहर नहीं निकल पाते। हमारा जो इनकम हो रहा था हर मंथ में जो 4,000 5,000, अभी तो 2 महीना से लॉकडाउन चल रहे हैं और हमारा जो सामान जो बना रही है इसको भेजने में से भी कोई लेने के लिए नहीं आते और जो भी लेने के लिए आते हैं वो जितना प्राइस है इनके पूरा 50% प्राइस में लेने के लिए बोल रहे हैं, जो हम देंगे तो कोई फायदा भी नहीं है। और इसी वक्त में हमको मदद करने के लिए कोई भी नहीं है। तुम अकेले लड़की जो हमारा विलेज के लिए सहारा बन सके तो आपके हिसाब से कुछ मदद देना है तो दे सकते हो। तो फिर मैं हमारे जो किट का जो फाउंडर है डॉक्टर अर्चू सामंत सर, इनसे मैं मदद मांगी कि सर मेरे विलेज में ऐसा ऐसा बहुत सारे आदमी है तो इनको कुछ मदद करना चाहती हूँ, तो आप थोड़ा मुझे हेल्प करेंगे तो मैं कुछ मदद कर सकेंगे हमारे गरीब लोग को। तो फिर किट का जो फाउंडर है डॉक्टर अर्चू सामंत सर, उन्होंने मुझे हाथ मिलाया मेरे साथ, उन्होंने के तरफ से भी मुझे कुछ मदद दिया जिसको हम दोनों मिल के फिर गांव में जाके विलेज में 3,000 लोगों को मैंने सूखा वाला खाना और उसके साथ राशन भी 15 दिन का मैंने सब बांट के आई मैंने।
सूजी चंद जी, धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए, और धन्यवाद ये जो आपने काम किया है और जैसे आपने लोगों की मदद की है। हम यही चाहेंगे कि आपकी बात सुनकर और लोग भी आएँ और मदद करें उनके आसपास जो लोग फंसे हुए हैं, घर नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, जिनके पास अभी पैसे नहीं है, काम नहीं मिल रहा है, उनकी मदद करें। धन्यवाद हमसे आज बात करने के लिए। लेट मी ऑल्सो से गुड इवनिंग टू नीति गोयल एंड Sonu Sood, who's joining us right now. Sonu, you've truly become a star of another kind with all the work that you've done. The way you've been responding to people who are reaching out to you from various parts with their own personal problems, and they're seeking your help. Give us an insight into how did this all begin? At what point did you decide that this is something that you need to do?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show. But it all started when we all were stuck in our lockdowns, and there was a hotel that I had in Juhud. That's the first thing that I gave to these paramedical staff. And me and Niti as team, we were distributing ration, a lot of food to a lot of people, almost 45,000 count we had every day. And one day we were on the highways and we came across these migrants who were walking, towards their villages. And we asked them, I said, where are you heading to? They said, we are going to our village, which is Karnataka, and we are going to walk 700 kilometers. But somehow, we were able to convince them that just stop and just give us 2 days to get all the permissions. And I had to use my good offices to speak to my friends, and we got the permissions for Karnataka. And that's the first time almost 350 people left for Karnataka with proper permissions, and the smiles on their faces, the tears in their eyes said everything. I said, we are not going to stop for these 350 because there are millions waiting on the highways of this country, and we have to get in touch with everyone. So this is how we started contacting them, and now it's like a huge responsibility on our shoulders till we make the last migrant reach back to their home.
Yes, in fact, I was going to ask this. The entire process is going to be very difficult. Niti, if you want to come in on that part, the coordination. Our governments right now are struggling with it. The local administration is overburdened. There's a lot of communication gap. Permissions are required. In-depth planning is required. Niti, how did you all go about it? Tell us about some of the challenges that you faced.
So it was a very curbsome process, and we were actually discuss about for the first set of permissions to come. We worked about 20 hours a day. There was a whole list which had to be compiled, and we had to get the medicals done of all the migrants who were traveling, and then the report was sent to the district from where they wanted to go. The district magistrate would say that yes, they belong to my village or whatever, and then we get a NOC. Then after the NOC, the state government issues a permit that okay, we will accept them in the state and they can come back. And that's when the final travel permit from Mumbai is issued by the DCP. Long in a curbsome process, and I think me and Sonu have been working almost 18 to 20 hours every day to make this happen, and it was not easy at all, actually.
I can imagine it's not been easy at all. Sonu, since, obviously a lot gets talked about the amount of work that you all have done. Is there a count by now? How many people have you managed to get them to their homes? And if there are any interesting stories about what people have told you, if any of them have reached home and, messaged you back to tell you, how the experience was?
Now I think more than almost 15 to 16,000 people, have been helped to reach home, and there's a huge list of almost 70 to 80,000 still. We need to figure out how to make them, get reunited with their families. But I would say every day is a challenge. Today we had hundreds of people, leaving for places in Bihar, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh. And me and Niti were there in Vadala in the evening. But I'll tell you that every single phase in the bus, they have so much of energy. They said, from past 2-3 months we were without food and we were stuck, and now we're going back to your homes. So I think doesn't really matter that we work for 20 hours a day, but this is the first time we are feeling that 24 hours in a day is less. Wish we had almost 30 hours, and we could help some more migrants reach back to their homes. So it's a challenge every day, but like I said, uh, I feel every day. I think this is the reason I came to this city. Okay, I'm an actor. I'm going to still do a lot of films, but this was something I have enjoyed the most, and bringing a smile on one individual, I think is the most satisfying experience ever I've experienced.
From your own industry, has your work inspired more people? Have there been more, people from the film industry who've stepped up and said, okay, we also want to be a part of what you're doing right now?
No, yes, a lot of phone calls, messages. They congratulated me personally that you have done really something which was, yeah, I would say, impossible task. But now since you're doing it, we are with you. And you need anything, please let us know. Like a very good friend, Farah, she got a lot of water for us to give to all the people who are traveling. Then a lot of messages from my fraternity friends who said, I think only you could make this possible, because since I work with them, they know that I'm good at making calls and making things work. So I feel that there's some kind of booster that you get from these colleagues that motivate you to wake up early and again get back on the job. I wish we can make every single person go on the same day. But we are on, and at least the best part is that the trust they have now built on us is that they'll wait for 2-3 days. It's not that they're running, they are going to walk down. They said, okay, sir, we'll wait for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, a week also, but we know that we'll go because you have assured us. So I think that's more than enough. And this is not just Mumbai, but across the I would say the country. And today is the best example when me and Niti, we received a message on my social media, and it was about almost 170 girls stuck in Cochin, and they wanted to come to Bhubaneswar, and since everything was the borders was locked down, and no one could move. So we decided why not to fly them off and to Bhubaneswar, and we opened the Cochin airport and the Bhubaneswar airport for 2-3 hours, and these 170 odd girls were flown into Bhubaneswar, and they had all tears in their eyes, and I think that was one of the most special experiences we could ever imagine.
So you mentioned a few names who have stepped up and also helped you and supported you and brought sent across water or food, but in some ways, Onusu, do you feel that perhaps the industry and the biggest of the stars could have done a lot more in the capacity that you're doing? Much appreciated, and so many others can do it. I mean, after all, let's also admit the fact that the industry itself has people, workers, crew members who come from various parts of the country. They themselves are in big trouble today. Shoots are not happening. Film work is completely shut. TV work is completely shut. They also need help. But do you feel sometimes disappointed that not much has happened from the big names of the industry?
No, I'm sure everyone must have done their bit in the way they prefer. But like I said, coming out in open, I would say it's not easy. You have to convince your families that, okay, you're going to go out. You are going to move among thousands of people every single day. And there's a huge risk. But I always believe that, till you don't give that personal touch, till you don't convince them, okay, you're one of them, they are not going to believe you. And we could manage to do it sitting in Mumbai, where the message spread across the globe, across everyone in India, that okay, if we make a call anywhere in the country, they can make us go back to homes. But like I said, the whole industry must be doing their bit. But like I said, it's not easy to come out and be with them. So I can totally accept that.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard of a few of the big stars raise funds and begin some kind of fundraising initiatives. That being said, there is enough money available within the industry, within the big stars and the star families, that could have very well been used. Thousands of these people, and they're still there. I mean, as much as you are able to do, I think we will need at least 20 more Sonu Soods and Niti Goyals to come together to ensure that all of these people get home. Today, our reporter was there in Vasai. There are hundreds of them who've been kicked out of this one ground where they'd been camping, waiting for the trains. The trains have been cancelled for the next 4 days, so they don't know when they will get the next train. There is no way to go back from wherever they came from. They have no money, no food. Wouldn't you want to make a larger call to your own colleagues, Sonu, to say, please come out and we need your help here? I know what's happening. I'm seeing this on ground.
I wish I could do that, but yeah, I've got calls from a couple of my friends, and very encouraging messages and all. But yeah, people want to do it. There are a couple of producers, directors. They have come up and they said, we want to be part of it. There's a friend, Shabina Khan, Tabu, Ramesh Surani ji, and Farah. Like I said, there are a lot of people who said that we want everyone to reach back home. But I would say, the kind of damage that has been done because of this, I would say the whole fraternity has to come out and, convince them, okay, just stay, we are with you and we'll make you go back to your home. So I know it's not an easy thing to do it because everyone is stuck in their homes. They have their families, they have their kids, they have their elders. But yeah, we are in a situation. So maybe I was lucky enough that God chose me and of course Niti to take care of that. And I promise you that we as a team also we have done which hundreds of other I would say institutions wouldn't have been able to do it. We have a whole system. We have a call center which is totally dedicated to it. Around 10, 12 friends of us, my chartered accountant teams, Niti, her team, everyone is into it, and I'm so happy that. Vidhu, Chopra sir. In fact, I yesterday spoke to him, and he has come forward to support us. So, like I said, the message is there with everyone, and okay. I'm sure this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, and I'm sure when we meet next again on the channel, there'll be 100 more names who will be there for these migrants.
Oh, I hope so. I absolutely hope so that happens. And thank you so much. And all of our good wishes to you and to Niti. I can imagine it's not an easy job, but it has to be done. Many more should come out and do it to as much as they can to their own capabilities. I'm glad that you and Niti have actually taken this on. Thank you so much for all the work you're doing in helping these people get to their own hometowns. Sonu Sood and Niti Goyal joining us there and speaking to us. Let me move on. I also have two more very, very special guests, a farmer from Delhi and a lawyer, part of a group from National Law School of India alumnus who've also done taken a very interesting initiative that I want them to share with us. So, Shail, let's begin with you. Shail Trehan joins us this evening. You all decided to pool in money and charter a flight for the migrants. Do tell our viewers, how this idea came about and how many people were you able to help?
So the idea came about because we were discussing on our WhatsApp group, which was the batch of 2000 from National Law School alumni. And in our batch, what we could do, everyone seeing horrific images in the media and everyone was feeling helpless, but we decided we were not going to be helpless. So we started off by wanting to charter a bus. And when we did the math on the bus, it turns out that we were paying approximately 5,000 rupees a person for a bus from Mumbai to either UP or Bihar, which should not happen, firstly, but that's what the pricing is right now. And because of all the permissions, and like Sonu was saying, it's very difficult and tedious to get the permissions to run the buses, and the pricing has become much higher. And one of our batchmates is the general counsel with Tata's, and he said, but you know what? I mean, for marginally more, we can fly more people than we would on a bus. So 180 people is what we could fly on the plane. We took a full plane load of 174. And when we did that, the equivalent would have been hiring 5 buses. So it was also to us important that we get people home as soon as possible, as safely as possible. And so that's what we did.
Oh, okay. That's very, very interesting, and I hope more people actually, come up and do such things. So, Shreya, just stay on with me. I have also got Mr. Pappan Singh Gehlot joining me from Delhi right now. Mr. Gehlot is actually a mushroom farmer, and he helped 10 of the people who worked for him to go back home, and he got them plane tickets. Gehlot जी, ये जो आपने काम किया ये बहुत ही अच्छा था कि उनके लिए आपने ऐसे टिकट खरीदे और उनको घर भेजा. किस समय आपने ये डिसीजन लिया और क्यों ये आपने डिसीजन लिया कि आपको उनकी इस तरीके से मदद करनी होगी?
जी मैडम, मेरा मशरूम का जो काम है वो सीजनल है और वो मेरा 28 मार्च को ख़त्म हो गया था. मेरी कुछ लेबर निकल गई थी, तो लॉकडाउन के बाद मैंने इनका खाना वाने का तो सब ध्यान रखा ही था. लेकिन जहाँ तक एयर टिकट का सवाल है, तो इनको 2 महीने बाद 2 महीने हो गए लॉकडाउन में फंसे हुए. तो जो बसेज जारी थी लीगल रूप से भी या इलीगल रूप से भी बाई रोड, तो आपके माध्यम से चैनल से पता लगता था कि बहुत से एक्सीडेंट हो रहे हैं और कम से कम 40-50 मजदूर एक दिन के रोड एक्सीडेंट में मर रहे हैं. उसके बाद हमने श्रमिक ट्रेन में इनका ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन कराया, तो 23 तारीख तक इनका उसमें भी कोई मैसेज इनको नहीं आया. उसके बाद जो ट्रेन खुली, उसमें एसी क्लास की चली थी पहले, उसमें मैंने बहुत कोशिश की, लेकिन उसमें भी 15 जून से पहले कोई टिकट नहीं थी. तो फिर उड्डयन मंत्री जी ने ये घोषणा कर दी कि घरेलू उड़ान 25 तारीख से चलेंगी. तो मेरे मन में ख्याल आया कि ये मजदूर भाई हैं, तो इनको बाई इज्जत, बाई सम्मान पूर्वक इनके गांव में एयर टिकट की बुकिंग करके मैं भेज दूं. तो एयर टिकट मुझे 28 तारीख की सुबह का इंडिगो एयरलाइन का 6 बजे की फ़्लाइट का दिल्ली टू पटना का मिल गया. इसलिए मैंने इनको फ्लाइट में जो मेरे मजदूरों को किसी प्रकार की परेशानी ना हो जाए, तो इसलिए मैंने बाई एयर इनको भेजना उचित समझा. जी मैडम.
जी, और ये जी आपने ये जो है बहुत ही अच्छा बड़ा काम किया. क्या वो लोग आपको बोलते थे घर पे क्या हालत है? उन्होंने क्या सोचा था कि कैसे वो घर जाएंगे अगर आप उनकी प्लेन के टिकट्स के साथ मदद नहीं करते? और क्या अभी उनसे बातचीत होती है कि घर पे सब कैसा है और वापस आने का क्या प्लान है?
देखिए मैडम, ये लॉकडाउन में मेरे खेत में ही थे, 2 ट्वेल है मेरे, तो मैं सुबह शाम इनके पास जाता था. और जो ये दृश्य चलते थे आपके टीवी पे, रोड पे निकल रहे हैं, नंगे पैर हैं, भूखे हैं, प्यासे हैं, एक्सीडेंट हो रहे हैं, इससे मैं बड़ा गर्वित होता था. तो इनको मैं सांत्वना देने के लिए, हालांकि मैं इनके घर भी पैसा भिजवा दिया था, इनका हिसाब भी भिजवा दिया था, उसके अलावा भी इनके अकाउंट में इनके घर में मैंने लगवा दिया था. लेकिन मुझे डर लगा रहता था कि किसी के बहकावे में आकर ये भी कहीं बैग उठा के रोड पे ना चले जाएं और कुछ मिस हैपनिंग हो जाए तो मैं अपने आप को क्षमा नहीं कर पाऊंगा. इसलिए मैं इनके साथ बैठ के पूरे संसार की और अपने देश के हालात बताता था और इनको मैं विश्वास दिलाता कि जैसे भी सामान्य स्थिति होगी या सरकार जो सुविधा करेगी, तो मैं जितनी जल्दी सुविधा होगी उतनी जल्दी अच्छे तरीके से भेजूंगा. मैं नहीं चाहता कि मेरे मजदूर किसी तरह तड़पते, रोते, बिलखते हुए, जैसे इस सड़कों पे मुझे दिखाई देते हैं, मेरे लेबर ऐसे रोते बिलखते हुए नहीं जाए. ये मैंने उनको वादा किया था. फ्लाइट का मेरा वादा नहीं था, तो लेकिन बाद में फिर फ्लाइट मेरे को सबसे अच्छा ये लगा कि इनकी एक जिंदगी में पहली यात्रा भी हो जाएगी और ये बाई शेप भी चले जाएंगे. जी मैडम.
ये बहुत ही बढ़िया काम किया आपने गहलोत जी, और धन्यवाद कि आप आए और आपने अपने जो आपके लिए काम करते हैं लोग, एटलीस्ट उनके बारे में सोचा। अगर सभी देशवासी ये करने लगे तो हमारी प्रॉब्लम बहुत जल्दी सॉल्व हो जाएगी. वेरी क्विकली शेयर विद यू ऑल्सो, यू नो, इज देयर ए थॉट टू initiate more of these projects to, you know, see how else you all can help people who are stuck in various places?
So we've already got our second plane leaving on Sunday. It's been sponsored by the Godrej Group. So it's moving faster than we expected, actually. We've been flooded with calls. We've been flooded with people wanting to contribute, to fly more groups down to different states. So the idea is, yes, we want to do more. The little bit we're doing will never be enough, but we should do everything we can. So we fly again from Mumbai to Ranchi on Sunday, and we'll keep going.
Okay, all the best to you. Gelo ji, धन्यवाद जो आप हमारे साथ आज जुड़े. And Shail Trayan, to you and your entire team, entire group of people, all the best, you know, in these initiatives and the projects that you are taking to help people out. Inspiring stories, really heartwarming stories, viewers, from a farmer to a bunch of lawyers to actors, you know, and athletes who are stepping and going out of their way to help people on the ground. We need more of this. Our governments are supposed to do their job, but in many ways are struggling and failing. So let's do our own bit and ensure that we are able to help more of the people who are otherwise part of our daily lives. These are the people who run our cities. These are the people who pretty much, you know, support our own lives and our lifestyle. So why should we not, in their time of need, do what we can? Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of The Urban Debate.